Hello, Internet. I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake, and this is new.
Yeah, this is Unpopular Culture, just Unpopular Culture, Episode 1. This is something we've been wanting to do actually since kind of the start of the channel. I know we kicked this idea around. This is going to be just nothing specific. Every episode's going to be us talking about, whatever happened since the last episode in media or TV or just funny shit we want to talk about, and that's it.
Yeah, it's going to be basically every single Saturday, henceforth, at the same exact time. And it's just the Jake and Hugo podcast, basically.
Pretty much.
Or Hugo and Jake, depending on how you do that.
Yeah, and it is pretty much podcast format. Just mainly listen to the audio and do whatever you want. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do some homework if you want to fail your classes. Go ahead and shit if that needs to happen.
Sure.
Or, I don't know, masturbate. Whatever you got to do. We're in the background. Just let us be.
Just definitely don't include us in the masturbation. You can tell us though in the comments only after you finish though. I don't want middle of one-handed typing.
That's
is
super
just
awkward.
It's just clumsy. So and also this will be available for podcasting formats over time, but not right now. So
actually,
if you have YouTube Red, it'll be great. But we're looking into it. So
if any of you use a podcasting service that you use a lot that is good and you want to recommend, go ahead and recommend it to us, because I don't really listen to podcasts, so I don't know what people use to download them anymore. Like when I was a teenager, I used to use iTunes, but fuck iTunes. So let
iTunes,
us know,
Spreaker, stuff like that. So
yeah.
So whatever your favorite way to download a podcast is, let us know, and we will try to include that format in our shit.
So, now that we got all that shit out of the way, what are we looking at this week? This week, we have a couple things to talk about. Marvel finally passed the $10 billion mark after Captain America Civil War reached, I think, its second or third week internationally, which is fucking amazing.
That's just enough money.
Yeah, just enough. You think maybe they doubled their investment and then some still. It's good for a small company like Disney. I'm glad when success stories like that happen. Spider-Man Homecoming, the new Marvel-headed Spider-Man movie. The script, sort of a shortened version of it, leaked online on 4chan, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I know Jake hasn't seen it, but it was pretty interesting, and I want to talk about it. The new Ghostbusters trailer released, and that, I'm sure, will not be controversial at all. The Assassin's Creed trailer came out, Michael Fassbender, the video game movie, and then, of course, we're going to talk about all the other shit that's coming out, Warcraft and whatnot, and finally, last but not least, they've announced a joint U.S.-China-funded $80 million Tetris sci-fi thriller film, and I want to take a crack...
Did you say sci-fi thriller?
Oh, yes, I did.
Not a comedy?
No, not a comedy.
Oh, fuck.
Jake and I, being the creative masters we are, want to find out if we can take a crack at writing the screenplay and see how that'll turn out. So
I think we'll do just fine.
Probably. But anyway, so Marvel. If you haven't seen our review of Civil War, we both liked it immensely. And now that it's been 8 years, we're sort of in the middle of the planned out Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is shocking when you think about it. We're only really in the middle of all the movies that there ever are going to make, as far as we know.
That's not even, I bet it's not the middle. I bet we're in the first third. Before we all get tired of it, we're like, okay, we don't want to see Doctor Strange 4.
When by the time we get Robert Downey Jr. in the Iron Man suit, but he can't do anything anymore outside of the suit because he's old as fuck.
It'll be Robert Downey the Third in the Iron Man suit.
Not charismatic at all. He pulls a Jaden Smith type thing. Get my kid in there. I want him. Yeah, but now I think it's a good time to have just a retrospective, basically, because it's crazy to think when Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion, by the way. They only bought it for $4 billion, which is, when you think about it, that's a great return on investment. They've over doubled already, and that's just the movies. That isn't counting merchandise and comics and all that shit. Think about the time when they bought it. Let's go back to, I think it was 2009, 2010, maybe 2011. I don't remember exactly, but remember the movies that had come out by that point. Iron Man, which, as we all know, was incredibly popular critically and financially.
I think that was a good one too. It was your first real Tony Stark thing, and he owned it, and it had. I think that was probably the first good set of superhero fights. Really? In a long time, a lot of people like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I don't, but I liked the first one, but that's only because we had no basis for a good comic book movie.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting, perfect culmination where you had a perfect leading person for a role, a good director, and the special effects had come far enough where it was believable in the movie without taking out of it. So it just worked out really well.
Well, and of course, we're not to throw Ed Norton under the bus, but his Hulk technically counts.
It does, which is so weird.
You know, the Eric Bana one does not count.
No.
But the Ed Norton one does.
Which is interesting because I really thought they were going to disregard it for the most part, but they've definitely referenced it in the Netflix TV shows, and most importantly, probably General Ross did show up as the Secretary of State in Civil War, so it's totally still canon. Maybe when Ed Norton went into the forest to hone his Hulk powers, he mutated again and became Mark Ruffalo, which honestly, good for him, less of an asshole.
Yeah, I hear Norton is not fun to work with, but Ruffalo is fun to work with, so that's cool. Although we are going to, I don't think we're going to see another solo Hulk film because it's kind of a one note thing. Like, yeah, he's just mad and he murders shit. But I think he's going to be in Ragnarok. All signs point to Hulk in Ragnarok.
Yeah, they've said officially
that being the next Thor movie. Yeah,
they also can't do Hulk solo films now, or they refuse to, because even though Disney bought Marvel, technically Paramount still owns distribution, I guess, on any Hulk individual movies.
Huh.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Anyway, just remember that when the Hulk came out, people weren't hating it, but they didn't really like it. It certainly wasn't Iron Man.
No.
And then
also, wait, hold on. What happened to Jennifer Connelly in that movie?
Betty Ross?
Sure, I don't know. Well, she just had a whole bunch of eyebrow.
Yeah,
and so the Ed Norton to Ruffalo switch, did Mark not have the hots for her anymore?
He must not. She's not going to show up again. It's weird because actually it seems like all the Marvel Phase 1 romances led nowhere, because now Iron Man and Pepper are not together. Yep. And
let's be real. That's because Gwyneth Paltrow is fucking crazy.
She is crazy. Her contract was over after Iron Man 3. I kind of hope she doesn't come back, because she's a weirdo.
Well, she steams her vagina, and she's she steams her vagina, and she is all into the woo-woo shit. She probably, you ever heard of nano bubbles?
Are they just tiny bubbles?
They're just tiny bubbles, but
I like
apparently
tiny bubbles.
Treat all sorts of diseases.
Oh, no, they don't, Gwyneth Paltrow. No, they don't.
They're just tiny bubbles, Gwyneth.
Like
Your name's Gwyneth. You have a child named after a fruit.
What?
And you not only did you enjoy Coldplay, but you liked it enough to fuck Chris Martin.
Wait, I'm still stuck in the bubble thing. What is she doing with the bubbles? Is she drinking them? Is she putting them places?
I think you drink them. There's a football player, Russell Wilson, who is really good, but he's into all the woo-woo too. And he says it prevents concussions. She says it just ails her maladies. No, you idiots. It's just tiny bubbles in water.
Someone should tell him that the best preventative measure and cure for concussions is stopping playing a sport where you hit other people in the head with your head.
Yeah.
Just saying. Well,
that's not probably a great idea, but yeah. So Gwyneth Paltrow not in it. Also, what's her name? Thor's main squeeze, not
Natalie
part
Portman?
of it anymore. Natalie Portman, that's the one. I was gonna say Nicole Portman, which is probably her ugly sister. Natalie Portman's hot though. Everyone has a crush on Natalie Portman.
I don't like Natalie Portman.
It's a carryover from Episode 1 of Star Wars.
I don't like Natalie Portman for a couple reasons. Because of Star Wars, and honestly because of Thor. She feels like she's phoning it in the whole goddamn time. Okay, a lot of people get into superhero movies because they're popular, and they probably still say, though, a lot of them usually are still like, oh, okay, I'll do the shit out of this movie, though. You can tell Natalie Portman's like, ugh, I gotta be in this Thor movie now? I was in fucking Black Swan. I don't get to be a lesbian in this.
She was in V for Vendetta.
Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of a different kind of movie, though. And also, she hadn't done Black Swan by that point. I felt like after Black Swan, she was like, I'm above this.
I'm way above this. I fucked, the Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend from that 70s show. By the way, quick side note, all of it after season 3 was in Eric's head.
I never saw the finale. Is that real?
He was in a coma.
Is that true?
That's not real. It's a fan theory because I think there was a writer's strike and all the timelines got fucked up, and they were in 1978 for 4 seasons. And they had, but during that time they still have Halloween and Christmas episodes.
Oh yeah.
But the real focus of this is not that. It is that Natalie Portman fucked Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend.
That 70s show and wait, no. Who was the guy who came in the last season of that 70s show to replace Eric?
Oh, I don't fucking remember.
Oh,
you
fuck
think I
that
watched
guy.
that?
I don't know.
I did not watch that.
Yeah.
No
Anyway,
one watched that.
basically, good for Disney. $10 billion. Good job.
Good job. Good job, Marvel.
Yay.
Yay. Woohoo.
Walt would be super proud if it weren't for all the Jews you employ.
So next on the list is what? The Spider-Man Homecoming script? Sort of leak.
So if you don't know what 4chan is, it's irrelevant.
Why are you on the internet?
It's garbage. Don't go to 4chan.
Yeah, I don't visit 4chan.
But let me talk about it because I visit 4chan and I was able to see this, and then it also went over Reddit and stuff. Very comprehensive. It's not like a script per se in the sense that it's actually pages. It's someone who apparently has read the script and they did sort of a bullet points plot breakdown. Very long, though. Very intensive. I'm not going to give spoilers by any means because if it does turn out to be true, I don't want to ruin the movie for you.
Not big spoilers, but you're going to have to get some sort of lattice up there. So maybe if you don't want to hear anything about the Homecoming movie, skip forward.
Sure.
Just skip around until you hear the words like Ghostbusters or bad black actress.
They're similar. They're similar. Anyway. Yeah, so the script is apparently the villain is the Vulture, which is interesting because we haven't seen that before.
I'm okay with that. But yeah, well, that's interesting because obviously if you've seen Civil War, which you should have, he's Spider-Man is not heavily featured, but he has a good like 15-20 minute chunk during I would say the first climax. It's like a two-humped camel, really.
Yeah.
And it's good, but he's not a hero yet. So I think the Vulture is kind of your nice B-list Spider-Man villain that's, like it's not Venom. Or it's not Carnage where it's a serial killer and this poor kid has to fucking fight him. It's a reasonable challenge for him. I think that's a good way to go. Yeah. Another good one, I don't want to see Hobgoblin or Green Goblin or Lizard again. Doc Ock might have been okay.
That's actually, it's interesting you bring that up. Because in the script, the backstory of the Vulture is actually great, and I hope this is true. If this isn't like an actual script, whoever wrote this was fucking brilliant and should actually become a screenwriter, because some of the ideas are really, really good. The premise is that after the Battle of New York, the Avengers fought the aliens that were coming through that portal, Oscorp, which was a small company before that, picked up some major contracts, and since then that company has been growing exponentially, which it's a good way to explain why we haven't heard of Oscorp before. It's only just now starting to become a big deal.
Right, and you can't have Spider-Man without Oscorp.
Right.
And also, it's important to remember that the Netflix Marvel series, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all the Defender stuff that's happening, they're all connected, so the Kingpin is actually a thing. Which was he's the main villain in the first Daredevil season. So I don't imagine him breaching the cinematic universe necessarily, but just knowing that he exists and Oscorp exists gives you it's a deep well for Spider-Man lore to dip from, even if you're not ever going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I guess they mention in the screenplay at some points some of the major scientists that are now working because the R&D department for Oscorp is like huge, I guess.
Right.
Norman Osborn is big into researching science shit. They name drop Octavius, Dr. Octopus, but he's not actually in the movie. They just allude to him. But the other one is the guy who becomes the Vulture, and the Vulture's R&D department is working on trying to copy Falcon and War Machine's flight capabilities.
I dig that.
What a great way to tie it together. So he's trying to figure that out. And what's his fucking name? The Oscorp guy. I just said his name.
Norman
Osborn. There you go. I guess he's a huge asshole, and he's really trying to get him to do it. But the only way he can get it to work. This part's a little silly, but it ties into why he's the Vulture. They can't get the power source to work because he can't figure out how to make an arc reactor or whatever.
Hey, that's okay. That's fine. That's what I figured it would be because, Stark is really the only one that has that technology.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Russian guy that was a former boxer and died at the end.
Poor Rourke. Mickey Rourke almost.
I love that you called him just Rourke.
You know what I mean? Like, with the wrestler, everyone will say, "Oh, Mickey Rourke's back," and then he was in Iron Man 2, and everyone's like, "Oh no, whoops, our mistake. Sorry, Rourke. Go back to doing whatever you were doing."
Probably blow.
Probably. I mean, I guess there are worse things to do than that, but I'm just saying. Anyway. So he's trying to do that, but the only way he can get the pack to work even a little bit, and he's testing it on animals, I guess, is it draws on basically the life force is the wrong word. They explain it. It's not magic. It's like sciencey. It draws on like your heat and your energy and your metabolism.
Probably the alkaline in someone's body, and it has to work through the whole body. Whatever. As long as you can tie it in. Does he get trapped in the suit?
He gets trapped in the suit. And the only
that's a very Iron Man, by the way. In the comics, Iron Man gets trapped in his suit. I think it's for the heart reason, though. Like if he leaves the fucking suit, he'll die.
Yeah.
So he can, he can take the helmet off and stuff. But so that's interesting, and I kind of like the idea of someone, I don't know, going a little nuts from that.
Not only that, but if you wear it too long, it starts to age you, which is what gives him the vulture look. And the reason he doesn't start as evil. It's just that it's killing him too fast, and he's trying to figure out a way to get out of it. Whatever. So he has to start drawing on other people's life energy, blah blah blah, which
makes him the Vulture, which is actually a good name finally, instead of just wing guy in a green suit with a frilly thing around his neck. He actually does vulture other people. That's interesting.
Some Vulture iterations have him eating people, like he's a cannibal or something. I don't know. I
guess my only foray into the Vulture canon was the animated series, and I'm not sure that they were ready quite yet to go into animated cannibalism.
I would have dug
for
that
children
as a kid.
On Saturday morning.
I wish they would do a version of Spider-Man where everything's totally normal and kid-friendly until you get to the Vulture and you just see him straight up eating people's faces.
I mean, to be fair, Spider-Man came on like right after or right before X-Men the animated series, and the very first episode of X-Men, if you don't remember, is when Wolverine loses his best friend, Morph.
I remember.
He gets killed by a fucking Sentinel, and we're like, children are like, oh my god, you can have that happen?
It's okay. Morph they made up for that episode, so it's like, all right, death character, whatever. Anyway, so the rest of the movie, some other stuff. Tony Stark does show up. He shows up to Peter's house, and he's like, hey, okay, so this guy, the Vulture, here's the thing. I would stop him, but I signed the Accords, so I'm going to need you to take care of this. Which
I like the idea that that's why Spider-Man becomes active, is because that happens after Civil War.
Yeah.
That's at least smart. Because in where was everybody during Winter Soldier? When
Fair
the
enough.
Characters are falling out of the sky. You know what I mean?
Some people, I don't know if they ever actually... The fan theory, one of them was Iron Man 3 takes place during the same time as Winter Soldier, so Iron Man's off doing his thing at the same exact time, which I don't know if they've ever officially said that's true or not. But remember in Iron Man 3, he gets like sent to the wilderness and he's dealing with the Mandarin, air quotes, the Mandarin. And
right.
I don't know.
But
Wait, does that take place during Christmas? Fuck, so that can't be the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just fucked up then. At least they're addressing it in the new movies with like the Civil War.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. It seemed weird that Tony Stark wouldn't notice 3 helicarriers and be at all concerned about it.
He was probably off doing something else. Who the fuck knows what? Maybe he was drunk. Maybe he was fucking Pepper in the back of a, I don't know, Lamborghini. I don't know what he does.
In her pristine steamed vagina.
She puts bubbles in the vagina. It feels like fucking champagne.
Are you proud?
I don't think I ever have been. I wouldn't know what it feels like. Let's see. What else? He gets some help from Stark by getting some tech. He basically just asks Stark, hey, I need you to give me the blueprints for the Falcon suit and the War Machine suit. I need to take a look at it, whatever.
Hey, I will straight up come if they do Iron Spider in this movie.
They're not. According to this, they don't. But he's like, okay, but you're not going to understand him, and he shows him a hologram like readout, and there's a scene where Peter's like, no, I totally get it, and Stark is all impressed and shit. Also, there's like a love interest, but it's not Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy. It's some other girl.
What?
Who I'm sure she's from the comics, but I'm not aware.
You know
of
what
her.
would be better is if his love interest was Miles Morales and it was all a red herring and we actually get him.
That'd be funny. But he gets some advice from Tony about girls too, which I guess I could see that being funny. And he's still broken up with Pepper in the movie. God,
I hope he fucks Aunt May.
That'd be hilarious. But Peter finally, when he's walking away, when he leaves Tony for the last time or whatever, he goes like, so what kind of girls are you into, Mr. Stark or whatever? And he goes like, redheads. And Peter just goes like, don't know any of those. I'll probably still laugh at that though, because that is kind of funny. Witty. So basically, you get it. Oh, the reason it's called Homecoming, by the way, is because the Homecoming dance is happening.
Don't say.
It's the climax of the movie, and it's Avengers themed, which is goddamn hilarious. And there's one gag. See, this is why I think it's legitimate, because they name specific gags in the movie that I'm like, oh, that's totally a Marvel gag. They have an ice sculpture at the homecoming of the Avengers, and the Vulture crashes into it, and it takes down like Captain America. It takes down a couple people. It's basically the people who left the Avengers at the end of Civil War, and it hits Rhodey, but it only takes out his legs. Which I'm like, oh yeah, they would totally do that joke. Basically, the movie seems funny. There's a lot of gags in it that I'm not going to spoil here. That's the only gag I'll spoil. But basically, if this is the plot of this movie, I'm super excited for it, because it's going to be way better than the Sony-led ones by far. Yeah. Not to mention we have a great Peter Parker now. Tom
Holland was fucking fantastic. He was the best on-screen Peter Parker, and he was only on screen for 20 minutes.
Oh, by far.
It's just because he did two or three things perfectly. Number one is he bantered while he was fighting. That's huge. That is so Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You cannot have Spider-Man without the banter. And while the Sam Raimi movies had a little bit of that every once in a while, it didn't feel genuine coming from fucking Tobey Maguire.
No, Tobey Maguire. I commend Tobey Maguire for doing a superhero movie when
he did a fine job. He did a fine job. It wasn't his fault. He just isn't Peter Parker. He was poorly cast and it was poorly written.
Remember that time in the movie? He's like, Spider-Man, you're out. And then Spider-Man, his quip is, you're the one who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, look up that clip. It's terrible. It's so bad.
No, thank you. But so Tom Holland does a really good job of doing that. Also, he's not overly confident, but still confident while bantering. And that's such a fine line to draw with Spider-Man, because he knows that he can kick the shit out of a lot of people, but he's always still kind of like interested and curious, and he kind of like has word vomit when he gets excited about shit. Yeah. And you saw that during the fight, like, oh my god, like you're Captain America, this is cool. And number three is his motivations for being Spider-Man are perfect. It has a little bit of Uncle Ben mixed in, and they never mentioned his name. Also, and we mentioned it in our Civil War thing, but basically the line was, when you have power and you see people get hurt and you have the ability to stop it, it becomes your fault that it happened if you don't make an effort to stop it. That's such a Peter Parker-esque thought process. And so, yeah, whoever wrote that, I don't know what team wrote that, but they nailed Peter Parker, and that's what you have to have a good Spider-Man movie.
You should be also happy to know there are no Uncle Ben flashbacks in the movie as far as this script is concerned, which is great.
We don't ever need that.
They reference it once or twice, but it's not like, Uncle Ben! It's just like, oh, your aunt doesn't have a lot of money because her husband's dead.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And it's Marissa Tomei, so probably she'll turn to stripping.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, I don't know if she's ever bargained a contract where she didn't take her clothes off. Which is not a bad thing.
In this one, it's only going to be behind the scenes when she fucks Robert Downey Jr. Not part of the movie. She's just like, yeah, I'm going to fuck Robert Downey Jr. I can see it. Also, you might be excited to know that this movie has at least one Defenders reference, if this turns out to be true.
Ooh,
I don't know if
I'm down with that. Do we want to do it? Let's talk about that real quick, but if someone doesn't want to know, again, this will spoil. So feel free to move on to the part where we destroyed the Ghostbusters.
Oh, it's just real quick. It's at the opening scene is Spider-Man thwarting a bank robbery in a very funny way, actually. He knocks out all the thieves, Spider-Man fight. And then one of the robbers grabs someone and puts a gun to their head. And it's like a serious moment where Spider-Man isn't quipping anymore because, this guy's like...
Is it Matt?
He's like, if you come near me, I'm going to shoot this guy. And Spider-Man, that spider signal we saw at the end of Civil War?
Yeah.
He makes it go out and he goes, you better stop or I'm going to call my spiders. And the guy just goes, oh God. And he drops the guy. Which, of course, isn't the Spider-Man power. He's just fucking with them. But after the bank robbery, there's like a news, whatever. And Spider-Man's swinging away and he overhears someone say, oh my God, we just got saved by Daredevil. is funny. I hope that makes
funny.
it in the movie. That's a really easy reference to make, and it's good. But anyway, that's enough about that.
Fine.
Basically, I hope this leak is true. This is the only leaked synopsis of a movie I've ever read where I went, yeah, this will really, really work. This could be real. So I'm hoping this is actually true, because I'd love the hell out of this movie. Okay, so now it's that time. This is the one I was kind of looking forward to, but also not. We're going to now talk. The Ghostbusters, the new trailer came out, because remember, the first trailer became the most disliked movie trailer in YouTube history.
Yeah. And okay, now here's the thing. Right up front, it's not because they're ladies.
It has no fucking bearing on it. When I heard
the biggest reason that I don't like this movie, well, the trailer so far, and I'm not hearing good things about the movie at all, but the trailers, they're so fucking poorly written caricatures of archetypes of characters.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying? Like like the sassy black lady is really ruining it for me, and it's because they just don't give her any depth whatsoever. She's just there for the, oh no she didn't. Like, that actress, I guarantee, could have a really fantastic performance, because the gags they run in those trailers are genuinely good ideas. But then she opens her mouth and it's like this bullshit that you see in a Medea movie, and it's like, no, just be funny. It doesn't have to be because she's black or because she's a woman. And then they do both. It's like, you can do that once or twice, that's fine. But every single joke I'm seeing in these trailers has to do with that.
It's funny, too, because in this second trailer, it seems like in definite response to the first trailer, they show a clip where Kristen Wiig, who I think is funny, I'm glad Kristen Wiig is in this movie. When they announced female Ghostbusters, in my head I was like, okay, who could we do? Kristen Wiig was on the list. I also had
Melissa McCarthy, probably.
I had from 30 Rock. What's her name?
Tina Fey?
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
I like Amy Poehler, stuff like that. I really like Amy Schumer as well. I think that would have been good. Obviously, she's a little more vulgar than most, but I think it still would have been funny. I think she could have done it.
There was like a while back, I guess there was like a scandal that she might have been stealing material too. I don't know if they want to put her in, but you get it.
It always happens. But and by the way, I don't think this movie is poorly cast. I think all the actresses look fine, especially if it looks like a reboot and not a continuation, which is a mistake in my opinion. But like, all you gotta do is hand the torch off, and you immediately have legitimacy. Instead, you do a reboot where everyone forgot the events from the 80s and 90s. It's like, come on, that was awesome though. Like, don't do that. Just be like, now the chicks. It's fine. They bought the fucking business. It's fine.
Yeah, that would be fine. Kate McKinnon is in this too, which I've only seen her a couple times, but she's usually good. But oh my god, some of these jokes. Okay, she's the nerdy one. That's fine. She's the Egon. Okay, fine.
She's so over the top, though. It's like Egon was like nerdy, but he was just normal dude nerdy. He wasn't like over the top. I gotta have props and quirks.
I have a hard time saying that too, because he definitely had his scenes where he's like, I collect mold, spores, and fungus.
Well, no, that's totally different. Having personality quirks is one thing, but showing your personality quirks so overtly just makes it cringy.
Sure. Anyway, okay. Specific gags of this trailer. By the way, second trailer, slightly less shit than the first trailer, though the first trailer was absolute shit and deserved all the shit.
I will say the effects in this look pretty good.
The effects look better, I think, even in the second trailer. And we actually recorded a trailer breakdown of the first one, but we never actually put it out. But the thing that we continually said, the production design looks really good. The proton packs, the suits, car,
they nailed it.
The traps
they
look
nailed
awesome.
That shit.
But God,
it made me so excited when I saw that shit.
Yeah,
too.
I just wish the jokes weren't so terrible. I know you said you like Melissa McCarthy. I don't really like Melissa McCarthy. I'm not gonna.
I liked her. How about this? I haven't liked anything she's done in the past 3 or 4 years.
Sure, I don't.
But I did like her entrance onto the scene. Like, she's genuinely funny, and she was clearly doing like improv.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't know.
I don't like jokes typically, regardless of who's doing it, where the punchline is just, look at me, I'm clumsy and fat. And it's not everything she does, but it's a big part of it. I guarantee there's going to be fat
Chris
jokes
Farley.
in this. Yeah, Chris Farley, some of his stuff I don't like for the same reason, but a lot of his shtick was clumsiness too, but it was a little different. I don't know. I'm not a huge Chris Farley fan in the first place either, but I think
he's more physical comedy, but he owned it way better.
Yeah, I don't know. The this also leaked online, a script to this. Not a script, actually. It's a guy who's known, he's an editor or something, and he leaked this either just after the first trailer or right before, I don't remember, but it's definitely before the second trailer, and he did a review of the movie, and he brought up things that were in this second trailer. Specifically, you see the Ghostbusters logo. If you saw this trailer, at the end, it's not Stay Puft. It's not the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's the Ghostbusters logo that comes to life instead. There's a similar scene from the first movie where they're like, choose your destroyer, basically. And I guess Leslie Jones's sassy black lady character goes like, oh, I like that cute little ghost from the subway. Because if you remember on the subway, there's that like graffiti of the Ghostbuster symbol. Yeah. And that's why it comes to life, which is so stupid. And it's not just the joke that makes me mad that it's a stupid joke. It makes me mad because I guarantee the exec said, okay, the big final giant monster at the end, because you gotta have it, kind of like a Stay Puft monster, or like in the second one, we had the Statue of Liberty, even though it was the good guy. We need a big thing. We want you to do the Ghostbusters logo coming to life so we can sell some toys. I guarantee that was the discussion.
That's exactly what it is. That's like when I saw that, like I thought it was the Stay Puft Marshmallow, which at first too, and I understand why anyone would, and then you're like, no, it's the thing, it's the ghost, and I looked at it and I was like,
yeah,
I don't want this.
It doesn't look good either.
Clearly, what it's doing, it's just taking the first story and redoing it with ladies with worse jokes and no charm.
Which is funny because you could people were saying, "Oh, you just don't like it because it's women and it's a remake." No, I don't like it because it sucks. Look at Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which is almost the same thing. It's a beat for beat remake of the first Star Wars, but with a female protagonist, with a female main character. I love that movie because it's done well. This movie looks like
she's competent, and she's not a caricature. She's an actual well-rounded character that has motivations, and she's a good actress, and even the jokes that they do they work for that character. They just, like, I think Kristen Wiig's really going to stand out. She seems like the best character.
She had one,
maybe McCarthy as well.
Wiig had a joke in the second trailer that actually made me laugh. No jokes in the first trailer made me laugh. In this one, where they're like, we don't want to cause hysteria, and then it's her being dragged away in a restaurant screaming, "Get out of the city!" That actually made me laugh. That was funny.
Yeah, that's a good man. She's so funny too. I really wish the way that you make this work is all you got to do at the beginning of the movie is have a scene with just Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, you know, all the original guys, obviously Bill Murray. You could have, and what would be funny is if you had the ghost of Egon.
Sure.
Give him a little homage, be like, he's a ghost now, but we kept him. And and that's fine. And just be like, yeah, but we're so fucking old. We're done with this. Like, you can have this. Here's all the stuff. And like, we made sure we sold it to the right people. And this is how you can introduce the new characters, the female ones, being like, you're a scientist and you're blah, blah, blah. And you guys, you know, whatever. And just already have the Ghostbusters being a thing. And then in the movie, you can even have people being like, if you want to bring it up, you can be like, yeah, but they're different now. Like, it's not, and take that head on.
Sure.
And make jokes about it and power through that within the film itself. You don't remake it. Like, that's a faux pas. Like, you don't take something that everybody loves and undo it.
It's the same thing happened when the RoboCop trailer came out for me personally. I was like, oh, why the fuck are you remaking RoboCop? And it's like a remake, but you're changing specific things clearly because you think it makes it trendier. Like,
right, yeah, no.
For instance,
it's
RoboCop,
totally
they made him like all black and shiny, and it was like it was an analogy for drones. And was it Samuel L. Jackson in that movie? I forget who it was. I think it was Samuel L. Jackson was the big guy. It was stupid. I'm not even totally against remakes, but if you're just going to take something that's, for the most part, timeless, and then you're just going to plug in a bunch of trendy buzzwords, like in this trailer at the end, they're like, selfie with the ghost. Like, oh my God.
No, and I liked that scene before the selfie. Like, I liked where that was going, where the ghost kind of lands on her shoulders.
Yeah, that was funny.
And she's kind of like, okay, everyone, shh, I'm just going to walk out slowly. It was started to be funny, and then immediately it's like, haha, millennials, they just can't help but take selfies. No, you fucks. Are you kidding me? This is not a joke. That's stupid.
No, it's not. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it. at this point because I think everything that could be said has been said. James Rolfe did a pretty good video about why he's not going to see it, and for the most part I agree with him. I just think it's unnecessary. It feels like they are waiting for one of the Ghostbusters to die so that the studio could say, well, we definitely can't make Ghostbusters 3 now. We have an excuse to cash in because we're Sony and we fuck up every franchise we get our hands on.
This could easily have been Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes 15 minutes, hardly any budget. You know, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd aren't really like the busiest guys ever.
Bill
Certainly
Murray was
Ernie Hudson's not. Ernie Hudson's doing like shitty Christian films at this point.
Bill Murray didn't want to do Ghostbusters 3 for a long time. He didn't even want to do Ghostbusters 2, I guess, but I don't know. Why this? This is gonna... I don't... You know, and let me just point this out. If it comes out and it's really good and really funny and the trailers are just bad representations, that's awesome. I would be happy to have more Ghostbusters because it's a neat universe and the production design looks good and it'd be great.
The premise is cool because, I don't know, it's the crazy shit that you can do with that idea is a good vehicle for comedy, yeah. I think.
But... like everyone else on the internet, if I see something that looks bad, if I see a trailer that's literally you trying to sell me your movie and it looks like shit, I'm not going to say, well, no, if it looks like shit, it looks like shit. I'm not saying the movie itself is definitely shit. I'm saying it's probably shit.
This to me looks like how Pixels looked.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks like Pixels, but with a franchise people actually give a shit about.
I know. It's sad.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot more to say. I'm sure when the other trailers come out, we'll talk about that more. And if anything else happens, because I don't know, people have been losing their shit on the internet about it. I don't really care one way or another. I have no vested interest, but holy fuck. It's like a big thing people are talking about.
Again, my prediction is Kristen Wiig's going to do well. She's going to be funny. She's probably going to be the one bright spot, and maybe McCarthy might have 2 or 3 jokes. Like it's going to be okay, but the other 2 are really, really going to drag it down. And Chris Hemsworth actually might be the best part because his character looks genuinely funny. You know, I think ditzy Chris Hemsworth is a good joke that you could get 3 or 4 good scenes out of.
Sure.
So I'm hoping for that. I just hope it's, I don't know.
So, speaking of new trailers, the Assassin's Creed trailer finally came out. Michael Fassbender starring as the assassin in this movie. This is actually an interesting way to do a video game movie. Jake, by the way, has not played any of the video games. I've played most of them, except for
I played the first one and it sucked, and then after that everyone's like, yeah, it's so buggy, because Ubisoft just can't not.
Yeah. The funny thing about the games, I'm not going to talk about the games very much because, I mean, I'm here to talk about the movie, and there's going to be comparisons, but I don't need to really give you a whole diatribe on it.
Yeah.
But
is it Ezio?
There were 3 games with Ezio, and then the rest are different assassins. The first game was technically impressive graphically for the time, had some interesting concepts, but it was repetitive. The second one was actually really good. It built on all the concepts really well. Brotherhood, which came after that, is my favorite one of the series. Awesome. And then it kind of just, they turned into a yearly release thing, and then it kind of went to shit. But still, a lot of the gameplay is fun. The story's interesting. Walking around the cities is neat.
The Brotherhood one, I hear a lot of people put up with their favorite games. People kind of like ones that like Mass Effect stuff like that. It just had that one had like a resource management aspect.
It did.
To it, correct?
That was the one where it came sort of in the middle of the franchise, where it was, they finally sort of perfected the base stuff and were just starting to add stuff like that where you could buy properties and manage them, and there were a lot of collectibles, and it didn't get out of hand. And then everyone since then has had like a new gimmick and whatever. The only gimmick that really worked after that was Assassin's Creed 4, where they did the ship combat, and even that, like, it felt more like a pirate game, but that was a fun pirate game. Anyway, so the games, they're mixed. If you played them, you know. The movie itself with Michael Fassbender, it's interesting because it's not based on any one of the games specifically. It's set in the same universe as the games, and it's just its own story, which, if you're going to do a video game movie, that's a pretty good way to do it. Because so many movies that try to base themselves off of video games try and directly adapt the story from the games, and it doesn't work because they're different mediums. And, for instance, the Super Mario Brothers movie, which...
oh, God.
I watched that the other night, actually. It's kind of hilarious in hindsight. In fairness, at the time, there was no real grand story to Super Mario Brothers. Even today there isn't, but at least there's like dialogue and shit. Then it was like, I don't know, this guy's wearing red, this guy's wearing green, they saved the princess. I don't know.
It was such a poor adaptation, though.
But I know it doesn't translate at all to film. Assassin's Creed could, because I've always said, and I've told Jake this before, because Jake likes history, it's a fun sort of conspiracy theory, pseudo time travel movie with neat sci-fi aspects. Honestly, I think it could do better as a film than in the game, because sometimes the games feel like they pad themselves out. So I think you could tell a good 2-hour story with this.
I was gonna say, it's got like Da Vinci Code-esque kind of stuff with it, but imagine a ninja dropped in the middle of it, which is pretty cool. Like, it's a cool idea, and Fassbender is a great actor, so at least they're going to have some clout at the top end of the film. I'm worried, personally, that it's going to be, how they've been doing these stylistic action movies lately. And it'll basically just be there so that you have some sort of action porn.
Yeah.
And it's just a backdrop for that, and you'll get a high-end actor, but it won't really turn out. What's his face from 21 Jump Street?
Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum did that one movie.
Olympus Has Fallen? Or White House Down? Whichever one. You know what I'm talking about.
No, not White House Down. The action sci-fi one.
Fuck.
Where he saved Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend from that 70s show. A lot of Mila Kunis in this one. That one was basically just like, look at all the action, the style, and then no one fucking saw it.
I think he was like part wolf in that movie or something too. It was
something terrible. Like, and so they've been doing a lot of this stuff pretty much ever since 300 came out. People are like, ooh, stylistic action, let's go for it. And this one, when you look at it, it's clearly got a style to the action.
Yeah,
it's kind of got this haze over top of it, which is weird. It's kind of like yeah, it's a video game, and we want you to know that it's definitely from a video game. Like, just shoot live action without the style, and then kind of let it fall into place.
I understand what you're saying.
That said,
but there's an in-universe reason for it, which I'll talk about later. But
well, I think everyone knows what the in-universe reason is, right?
It's like
doesn't everyone know that it's a simulation looking into the past from your DNA? It's like a video game from your past. Yeah, we get it.
Okay, just saying.
I understand. I know, but it's. For me personally, as a viewer, someone who's watching this, it just seems like, oh yeah, that'll look cool when he's doing backflips.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And granted, it does not look bad. I'm just saying it's probably got a lot of gimmicks.
Oh, it definitely.
You're gonna have a lot of slow motion jumping scenes and, man, slow motion action sequences haven't been good since The Matrix.
The Matrix fucked a lot of things up, honestly. Bullet time, done. Everyone used that to death right after that. I don't know. Also, the weird thing, this is a nitpick, and it's not something I hate necessarily because you need to adapt things, but in the games, the Animus, which is the machine they use to go into your DNA, it's like a table or a chair, you sit in it and it plugs you in, kind of like a Matrix chair.
Oh yeah, he's like all around.
Yeah,
right?
in the movie, it looks like they plug him into like this belt thing and he can actually jump around almost like it's a virtual reality thing. Honestly, I almost like that more because in the game, at least one of the plots of the games is you're using the memories of your ancestor to train you to become an assassin. And it always made me think, well, yeah, maybe I can mentally know how to stab someone now, but the muscle memory isn't there. Maybe in this movie they're doing something similar where they need to train Michael Fassbender and they're using this belt to physically train him in virtual reality or something. I don't know.
Basically, it's going to have some sort of conspiracy thing. He's going to break out, probably be an actual assassin at the end in the third film because they're probably going to do a trilogy and we're probably going to be tired of it by the middle of the movie number 2. But movie number 1 probably will be all right. It'll probably be like, I expect a little bit better than Pacific Rim out of it. If it's better than that, great. I'm so down for that. Yeah. But Pacific Rim was something that you're like, okay, I'm not going to turn it off, and it's fine. But you don't really ever crave Pacific Rim. You know what I mean?
Once was enough for me. I'd see a sequel, but I don't need to see Pacific Rim again. Speaking of the video game movies, another one that's coming out is Warcraft, which a lot of people are super excited by. Bear in mind, I've never played Warcraft. I've never played World of Warcraft, so I don't know anything about the lore, but am I the only person who thinks that movie looks like fucking garbage? I don't understand.
No, it looks like it has Chronicles of Narnia style like effects. It looks dated already.
And like I've heard people say like, weird. Oh, look at the orcs. Look how good they look. I'm like, are we looking at the same effects? These look terrible. They look like cartoon characters.
Well, have you seen World of Warcraft graphics?
Yeah, but like
they're garbage.
That's an MMO from like 10 years ago.
No, I understand. So maybe that's why they're excited because the 10 million people that play that still or whatever, and they're like, holy shit, orcs with fucking actual details instead of like 1998 polygons. Way to go. I know, World of Warcraft players, it's better than that now. Calm down.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even talk about that because I don't know anything about the games or anything.
It looks okay. It looks, again, this is a very stylistic thing. It's going to have some neat action sequences, but basically it's every single like fantasy story we've ever heard. It's like, although there's some space travel because they come from a different planet, but it's basically like, here's the hero for the humans, here's the hero from the other. It's Enemy Mine.
I don't.
Except with giant battles.
Oh, is that where they were on the planet and it was like they couldn't?
Yeah, they had to be friends,
Yeah.
and they had to survive together. This is the same thing on a larger scale with war, which is fine. We've seen this plenty of times with the uncommon heroes, and they have to, people who normally wouldn't be friends so that for the greater good, and that's fine. That's a normal story, but man, it just, because it's already World of Warcraft, it feels derivative.
By the way, the
itself.
Warcraft armor looks goddamn ridiculous in real life. Like, it already looks silly in the games, but it's a game. But when you put that in real life, I laugh at it. That's, oh my god, come on.
It's silly, yeah. Again, I might watch it if it's on Netflix. So I'm not going to that.
Oh,
movie.
absolutely. I wouldn't.
Unless one of my nerdy friends is like, I'll pay and you can go and you can eat popcorn. I'll be like, yeah, I would love to eat popcorn for 2 hours.
Eat popcorn. Can someone shut the movie off? This is really distracting from my popcorn experience. Look at the graphics on this popcorn.
Every time I go to the theater locally, I always go VIP,
yeah.
And I sit above the plebeians, and I get my nice big chair, and people come to you 20 minutes before the film and are like, hey, would you like any alcoholic beverages or gourmet food or popcorn or whatever? And every time it's been really, really great service. The service people there are great. And last time I went, I don't remember what movie it was. Actually, it was Civil War. And we asked for popcorn. We got some beers or something, but popcorn with, quote, extra butter. Make that extra butter. Actually, I want so much butter on it, you're questioning on whether or not this is too much butter, but you're still going to give it to me. And they didn't put any butter on it.
Oh, that's the opposite of what you wanted. Oh, no.
That is the exact opposite. So, so if someone pays for me, that better happen, or I'm going to be disappointed.
Do you have Uber in your city?
Yeah.
Do you? Do you ever use it?
No, I have a car.
No, but I would just be like, I'd like to go.
If I got fucking drunk, I would probably call an Uber or a taxi.
I don't feel comfortable drinking any amount and driving. So if I had a movie theater like that, I'd love to go and like have a couple drinks and watch a movie. But
where you live, where I used to live, it's like 45-minute drive. Where I live, it's 10 minutes down the road, that's with stoplights.
Fair.
So yeah, so it's not a big deal. And plus, they don't serve you in the middle of the movie. They only serve you at the beginning.
Fair.
You can walk out and get it, but they won't bring it to you. So a lot of people aren't leaving a movie they just paid $12 to go see. Yeah. So I get like 1 or 2 beers and it's 2 hours long. You're good.
I hate the movie theater in our town. It actually was just built like a couple of years ago. It's got big nice screens and stuff. I hate the people. I hate
the people. No, I know. The people in that area of Michigan are not great. That's why I sit in VIP away from the normals and up here. That way, even if there's a fire or a shooter, they can't even get to us. That's how much better we are. And there's not a bad seat because you're above and kind of over a little bit.
That's the trap you're getting into. That's what Abraham Lincoln thought. He didn't think no motherfucker's gonna jump down and say some shit in Latin after shooting me in the face. But now look where we are.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to free slaves. In fact, more slavery, please.
All right, I think it's time to hit on the last thing, and we want to talk about, and that's, again, related to the video game movies. Apparently, there is a joint venture between an American and Chinese film company to make a Tetris movie with a budget of $80 million. It's going to open in China, and then depending on its reception there, it will get a wider release. Before
we write our own screenplay to try to fucking figure out Tetris and make that entertaining, I would like to offer for them to keep $78 million and give us 2 for nothing.
Okay.
Just to not have it, and then they just keep their money because they're going to lose all of it if they make that movie.
All right. Sounds good. And
obviously we get a consulting fee of $2 million.
Okay. Sure. Do you have an idea for a screenplay, or should I go first? Because I already have one.
Go for it.
Okay, my screenplay. Enter. It's a voiceover. The cast is all Chinese, by the way.
Oh.
Just so you know.
Oh. Like in real life.
Yeah. So, open.
Oh, good.
Decimated planet Earth. It's all gray. Kind of think opening to Terminator Genesis, but less shit. And there's
Jai Courtney's corpse.
Yeah, just dead. There's
ground.
Dead Jai Courtneys everywhere.
Actual dead Jai Courtney.
Voiceover. The year is 2437. The Earth has been invaded by an outer space virus. And now the last humans fight the viruses with our blocks. Tetris, the movie. The premise is basically going to be out in space. Things are different sizes, and there are viruses, but they're giant. They're like the size of spaceships, but they're viruses, and they're attacking Earth like it's a cell or some shit. I don't know. It's like space AIDS. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Space AIDS, and Magic Johnson's like, I'll be fine.
Yeah, and the Tetris blocks are ships that they've built as a last measure, the last humans to try and stop the viruses, because they work sort of like...
To build a wall?
They work like white blood cells, where, you know how some...
Oh, it makes more sense if it's a Donald Trump-esque wall
around
the Earth.
That could be your screenplay. This is mine, okay? That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I think we both need a little work on both of ours.
If you know how your immune system fights certain viruses, it basically plugs proteins into certain sockets in the viruses and kills them, shoots stuff into them.
Right. Okay.
So that's what this is. The Tetris blocks are fitting into certain places in the viruses, and it goes in there and it shoots stuff into them, and then it explodes and disappears. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the ship explodes too, because, I don't know, it's Tetris, that follows the lore of Tetris. We're gonna have a love interest between two Tetris pilots. One's gonna be a straight block, and one's gonna be a square block, because they don't really fit together at all. But they have to, against all odds, work together, and then in the final action scene, their blocks will be perfect for each other to fit into the last mothership virus and kill it. And also, lots of communist propaganda, because it's being made in China. This is all funded. The Tetris project, like, all the ships are being funded by a wonderful communist government. Right, lads, we're the last humans on Earth, but we're all real happy. Isn't Hong Kong overrated? I don't know. That's it. And then, I don't know, they save the day. But then there's like maybe another virus is coming, and they got to make bigger Tetris blocks or something. Maybe they got to meta Tetris, use other Tetris blocks to make bigger Tetris blocks. Anyway, that's my screenplay. I will take $1 billion, please.
Okay, that was awful.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm going the exact opposite.
Okay.
Of all of that, basically.
Okay.
There's no threat. There's no love interest. There's also no color. This is black and white.
You're going the Scott Snyder. You're going the Zack Snyder route.
Yeah, but no reds either. And so basically, it's just a room. Think, normal room. Maybe there's like a potted plant, like a fern in the corner. Okay, and then like a love seat, and then a bottle of water on a coffee table in front of that. Okay. Just a bottle of water, right? Yeah. And for the first 10 minutes, nothing happens. Okay. We're just sitting there, and like the only thing that you hear is the squeaking of the ceiling fan. Right. Like every once in a while, you know how that.
Yeah,
that works.
I know how fans are.
Okay, and at that point, you're like, okay, well, I have popcorn still, I guess. And the normies kind of file out a little bit, but you're just sticking through it. Okay. Right. This is just to get rid of them, really.
Okay.
This is to see if you're committed or not to this film. And by the way, the runtime, 4 hours, and don't worry about it. And then the camera slowly slides forward. Okay. And we get a little bit closer, so it's not as wide a shot. You can't see maybe the coffee table anymore, but you can still see the top of the water bottle. You can see an edge of the fern, okay? And then Joaquin Phoenix walks in and sits down on the sofa.
Joaquin
Phoenix.
I didn't know he was still alive. I guess I would have.
Well, no. This is actually important. He is alive, but he also has you ever see like an urn that you put someone's ashes in? He has one of those with him. And he just sets it on the coffee table, right? It's not ashes. That, my friend, is blow. And so he slowly unscrews the cap, sets it down, okay? just scoops his hand in there and just takes a big old hit or a bump. It's more than a bump though, because he's like double nostril. And then he lightly scoops the rest of like the extra off of his hand and then back into the urn, wipes his face a little, gets like a hanky out and like very calmly wipes it, and then tucks it into his, because he's wearing a suit.
Oh,
by the way, so it's kind of like
it's a pocket square.
It's a breast pocket square.
His Coke pocket square.
He uses for his Coke pocket square. And then he pulls out a classic Game Boy from behind, and he plays Tetris. You never see the screen. You just know that he's playing Tetris because you can faintly hear. Might
I suggest that an hour into the movie he turns it down because it's annoying?
Right, no, exactly. He turns it down, but he might change it. Like, you can hear him in the menu screen sometimes, and he will change it to like options B or C because it is classic. Right. And sometimes maybe he'll pause, take another bump or a sip of water, and he sits down, and then he'll just sit there for a while, and he will play, and then eventually he just sits it down and he takes a nap, and that's the last 2 hours.
Is there like, when did the credits?
And then at the end, it just says Tetris, written and directed and produced and lit and cameraman and mic guy and screenplay by Joaquin Phoenix. And then
all right, so
hold on.
Right.
There's an after the credits scene.
Oh, of course.
Right. And it's teasing Tetris 2. Joaquin Phoenix gets up, takes his urn, okay? Backs out, bottle of water still there, okay? In walks Shia LaBeouf with a Game Boy Color. And then he sits down. And he pulls out a pipe. And he smokes some weed.
Okay.
And then he puts that in, and then he starts, and then black.
All right.
My movie's better than your movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I honestly think if you made that movie and put it into theaters, it would probably make more money than whatever they're actually going to make. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not trying to be funny. Your movie would make money because people would be like, did you see that fucking Tetris movie? Joaquin Phoenix just does blow and plays Tetris for 2 hours and then takes a nap.
Yeah. Did you see? You gotta stay for after the credits though. LaBeouf comes in. Shia motherfucking LaBeouf comes in, and he just sits there and he gets not even really high. He takes like 2 hits the whole 3 hours.
That's all Shia needs. He's a lightweight.
Yeah. He doesn't have any more of that Even Stevens money anymore. He's just working on Nympho Part 2 money.
I'd like to think he sometimes calls Melissa Romano, something like that.
Is that her name?
His sister from Even Stevens. And
Ren
she
Stevens?
goes, hello. And he goes, hey, how's your career going? And she goes, is this Shia? And he goes, fuck off, Kim Possible, and hangs up.
She was Kim Possible, who was hotter than her.
Yeah, that was when I found that out. I was like, no, not even close. Not even close. Anyway, I think that's enough for one episode. We covered all our topics. Good for us.
Yay.
We talked about Marvel, which was good. We talked about Spider-Man, which looks good. We looked at Ghostbusters, which looks like garbage. Assassin's Creed, which will probably be a 6.5 out of 10. Only because of Fassbender. And then Jake's wonderful idea for a movie. Not too bad for our first episode.
Yeah. Mine's basically a take on Tetris, but if the guy that directed Boyhood did it.
I haven't seen Boyhood. I can't refute what you just said.
It just takes place over 12 years. It's just a very long-winded movie.
Anyway, so thanks everyone. Tell us if you have any topics specifically you want us to talk about next week. Go ahead and let us know in the comments, and we'll make sure to consider them and then tell you to fuck off if we decide not to. If you want to, you can follow us on Twitter at @TheRealUnpop, even though nobody uses it. I don't remember the last time I tweeted from it.
Yeah, and that was your job, you bitch.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can also subscribe to the channel so that you get more of these, and we will be doing these all the time. Maybe sometimes we'll do them live. Who knows?
Yeah. Give us any suggestions you have, because this is new. But just remember, we are perfect beings, and we are above you.
Yeah, we don't need your constructive criticism, though you may type it in the comments.
So thanks, everyone. Until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this has been episode 1 of Unpopular Culture. Look at all the shitty movies that are coming out. Yay!